Hello everybody, welcome back to Language, Litigation, and Integration, Part 74, Casual Conversations 23. Just stories today, maybe a couple current events, but I got a lot of stories. Mostly family stuff. Again, I feel absolutely disgusting. Shout out to my uncle, my aunt, and my cousin for, again, what are you guys like what offended you? I fail to understand. Well, actually I know what offended you. I did. I exist. And again, remember, just a quick refresher, my uncle, who is a Christian, just again, very intolerant and just started judging people. I was sitting there defending literally human rights. My other cousin, female cousin, 24, comes over, and again, I don't know what they were offended at. I'm more of a Christian than you people ever could be, right? Let's play a game. What would Jesus do? Would Jesus be intolerant? Would Jesus be judgmental? Would Jesus spread education? Spreading the word of God is literally high-flying words for spreading education, teaching people. That's what the letters, the Acts of the Apostles were. Not words, acts. But again, I educate people every single day. The amount of people I've helped is literally every single person that will ever walk on this planet. And I'm just honestly fed up of being told I'm a disgusting person because other people have no no ability to take control of their behavior. Fucking sick of it. Again, wasn't even invited to Thanksgiving. So let me just give you another story about. I've referenced Rick Nash as somewhere in our extended family. I'll just give you another story about the same again. My mom's brother and sister. And so my uncle has, I don't know, 3 sons and a daughter, a bunch of grandkids now. Again, to my uncle and aunt, I can't start a family because no one in this world has any values. I can't leave this country because no one will support my research. Again, to my uncle, I teach people guitar, I teach people education, history, law, science, biology, physics, mathematics at the highest level that could ever exist. And so I just feel fucking disgusting. I don't deserve to live. I don't deserve to be treated with human respect. I really just don't. But my uncle's youngest son, who's literally right about my age, he's got 2 or 3 kids of his own now, and I still have never had a girlfriend. But he's getting married. And so we go to the wedding, and this is one of the ones Rick Nash was at. And after the wedding, we notice one of our other cousins isn't there, the son of my mom's sister. And basically, like, why isn't he here? Why isn't he here? And so it turns out that he didn't attend my cousin's wedding because it was like some sports game on, like a college championship or an NFL championship or something like that. So that's the kind of type of family we come from. Again, if there's a sports game on or our cousin's once in a lifetime wedding, well, once in a while wedding, that's an acceptable thing to do. So if you guys don't want to treat me with respect, that's fine. Again, I just want to see my mom, my dad, my brother, whoever wants to get past that. Let me give you another quote, guys, that my uncle told me. He literally said to me, again, I'm not going to leave this conversation feeling good about you. Yeah, it's right back at you, man. Like, it's not like I don't, right, here's my respect bar. Here's neutral, here's disrespect, and here's respectful. I'm very neutral on everybody, and then I exist, and then they fucking hate me, and then they have to lash out because of their inconsistencies. Remember, this conversation started because he was being intolerant, he was being judgmental, and I simply just asked him genuine biological questions, but my family is, again, hive mind. And they're 60, they just go from one narrative to the next, and they never actually sit down, look in the mirror, and think. So my uncle's going to pray for me, pray for my soul. He's not going to leave here feeling good about you. Why? Because I'm more of a Christian than you? Because I'm a better person? And I'm not a Christian, I'm my own self. Right? If you need some book, any book, history, if you need some sports role model to be a better person, go look in the mirror, ask yourself the hard questions, and keep your judgment to your fucking self. But again, to my family, I've never had a friend. I have no friends. After this conversation, my mom goes to me, my mom was not in this interaction whatsoever. Well, where is it? Why don't you just let it go? Or why don't you just forget about it? Because you guys don't understand I'm a scapegoat. I have 0 friends. I have 0 people my age to interact with, and I try every day. It's disgusting. I hate myself. And I just want to not get told that I should be fucking dead in a fucking ditch because other people don't have values. I'm tired of it. But why don't you just forget about it? Because I don't have anyone in my entire life that has ever treated me with human decency, literally ever. I've never had a conversation with someone my age in legitimately 6 years. I've not had any day-to-day life in a literal decade. This society is completely stagnated because there are zero values. But then also, again, my cousin comes over again, and again, they think I'm attacking Christianity because, again, they're not Christians. Christian is an action. It's a way of fucking life. Go to church once a day, pat yourself on the back, and judge Brad. But one more thing, again, my cousin says, again, after I ask, who works for the federal government, who's 100% stealing from me, and again, my life is destroyed. I forget even what I said, but she goes, oh, well, thank you for that. A very snobby, bratty type of way. To my cousin, I thought, aren't you a Democrat? Don't you vote for social justice and human rights? That's what I was defending in the conversation that you butted your head into. So, I don't know, maybe are you a Trumper now? You gonna go storm the Capitol or some shit? It's a bunch of illiterate people, man, and I don't want to be polite or respectful. Family, if you're watching this, I have a right to tell my story, and I hate myself. I hate myself because I'm a scapegoat for all of this shit. But that's about I'm not going to leave this conversation feeling good about you. It's fucking hilarious when people you don't really have respect for lose respect for you. It's like, oh, bummer. My uncle that I see once in a blue moon that insults me because he doesn't take the time to support any of the research that I've done, any of the good actions that I've done. And again, my whole thing was I just wanted a good day with my fucking family and just to eat a meal. That was my big motive. And again, I did not start this conversation. I did not antagonize anybody. People cannot be questioned when they're 65, when they're completely inconsistent. And again, he told me that. That was his words. I haven't been a good father. I haven't done this. I haven't done that. I'm a very consistent person. I don't need anybody else to comment on anything else I fucking do. And again, my work speaks for itself. Actions speak louder than words. Who have you helped? And that's what I asked him. Who have you helped? And he literally gave me this example of like, again, didn't even sound like a specific example, just sound like a super generality. Oh, when there's a little old lady walking across the street, I'll stop and help her across. To which I get literally audibly laughed. Because yeah, again, what lasting impact does that have on a human being? You helped them for like 5 seconds across the road? I've taught people how to think for a lifetime. Taught people how to teach a man how to give a man a fish to eat once, teach a man a fish to eat forever. That's the type of shit I'm actually doing. But they literally refuse to click on videos that sit on the fucking internet all day that prove these things. These are logical proofs. They sit there and they viscerally react to the proofing, but at the same time, they're so illiterate, they have no historical background, that they can't accept that me, a 28-year-old man, is allowed to be a scholar, is allowed to do historical research. Scientific denial is the #1 problem that has destroyed this entire fucking society. It doesn't have to be religious. This is one conversation. It could be sports. It could be academics. It could be philosophy. And people just take their shitty, broken personalities and pump it into whatever ideology they want, and then they just judge people and slow down everything. So, it's about the last of that specific conversation, but moving on. Actually, 1 or 2 more quotes from that conversation, and then just some other things from Christmas. But, make sure I'm still in the frame. But after that, like I said, after this heated exchange, because this is how it goes. People, they're confidently incorrect, they're steadfast in their delusions. I teach them something. Remember, I teach them something. Everyone likes to learn, but they shut down the conversation. They don't know what they're defending. They're not defending Christianity because they're inconsistent. They just want to tell their nephew or the person younger than them to go fuck themselves. Which again, to my aunts and cousins, this is the only interaction I've had for the past 5 straight years of my life because of crime. But we can't click my music. Can't do any of that. And again, I cover all types of music. I do all types of composition. But no, we would never support anything. We would just judge. But also, after this little heated exchange, again, typical 2-family bedroom house, you have a living room and a dining room. And we're sitting there at the living room table. He goes to the dining room. Again, in all fairness, I don't know if they're laughing at him, probably judgmentally. But I can hear him go, behind my back, everything in my family's behind your back. They never say anything to your face because they think it's parenting, or they think it's adulting, or they think it's being grown-ups and it's being grown-ass children. So they're sitting there kind of chuckling, laughing, like, oh, then he gives me lessons on Jesus. I'm the most prolific historian that's ever lived, and if you don't want to fucking listen and be respectful, I don't fucking care. But talking behind someone's back is just hilarious. Again, for 65-year-olds. But then I hear him say, it's enjoyable. Yeah, Uncle, the thing that's enjoyable is learning, and you can't learn shit that isn't proven. And if you just click, again, this is part 74. Go click part 1 through 5 through 10. This is when I prove all this shit. And if you don't accept the proof, there is nothing I can do past that. And my life is over because of this. It is never going to fucking change. All I want is a family. There's just no values. There's no values at all. But that's It's about the only thing from that conversation left to say. Just more lighthearted, weird stuff from Christmas. Well, actually, one other quote from that uncle from a previous time. He's sitting there, and again, we're talking about space now. Again, it's the weirdest shit ever. Before I was a bona fide scientist, people would listen to me talk about science more so than after I've proven things. Sitting there, talking about outer space, and he goes, who knows what's out there? So it's interesting coming, again, the civilization, our species mates, and our solar system friends that would 100% be aware of God, Aaron, Yahweh, Lord. A certain level of intelligence gets an audience. It just does. Jesus, I'm not exactly sure. Maybe bits or pieces here or there. But then when you have the same type of quotes, Uncle, I know what's out there. It's a lot of aliens. It's a lot of civilization. But it's all connected. There's no closed systems. Certainly not historically. And so people don't know what they're denying. They're denying historical fact, and then they take it out on me. And to the people I haven't talked to my old buddy Tim and Ryan, who I'm sure still go to church and call yourselves Catholic, who have you helped? What have you done? Look at this shitty fucking life. Not 1 minute of 1 day of my life has changed. To my old buddy Tim, remember 5 years ago, 6 years ago, after I first discovered all this shit, we were driving around in the car, and then, we talked about this stuff for, again, past decade, and then you're like, ugh, you don't need to talk about this anymore. No, we do. We need to talk about how there's no values in this society. If you look at things and just walk away from that after 20 years of complete fucking destruction. To the DeSale St. Paul community, live the fucking lives you think you fucking do. Actually fucking do so. Enough of that nonsense. But just some more strange stuff. It's like, my dad asked me if I was boosted for Omicron. Like in a way it was just like, oh, I bet he's gonna say no. I know you guys don't want to watch my videos for whatever fucking reason, but if you're gonna sit there and ask me shit that I've directly addressed, and again, not in a polite way, not in let's have a conversation or let's do this type of thing, but I just want to die. I honestly just want to fucking die. I can't fucking make a friend. I can't get a fucking girlfriend. I can't start a family of my own. Are you boosted? Of course, I preach about it every single day. It's just, and it's not, they're not coming from anywhere. They just want to poke at Brad. And then my dad said, they said Omicron could help with the pandemic end because of natural immunity. It can just transmit, again, turn on the TV, Mom and Dad. When you hear anyone say transmissibility, I can show you where they get that from in this lecture series itself. But just overall in general, natural immunity. Come on, Candace Owens and Ben Shapiro and all my Republican family members. Have you ever heard about reinfections? Yeah, so it's not really going to do much. But again, my dad asking me stuff about scientific stuff that I talk about every single day directly. And then also, my dad has this cutout nativity scene. And for what it's worth, on a personal level, again, I'm just too aware to say anything besides religion is just a weird reaction to people with profound intellectuals. I see no value in church because, again, it's a preacher. It's a dude with literally 900 IQ points less than me, and there's nothing he's ever proven logically. Nothing, zero, zip. So it's not dealing with Jesus or dealing with God. It's dealing with someone who's read a book shitty and is probably touching kids someday and gets covered up by the Catholic Church and no one cares. So I'm not going to listen to those people. But I would go to the movies with my family. I would go to dinner with my family. If my family got value out of church, I would go to church with my family. But there's just no values. Again, I don't see any value in church. Being a Christian isn't going to fucking church. It's a way of life. And if your actions speak louder than your words, you don't need to say anything. But my dad has this cutout nativity thing, and he goes pretty much word for word is explaining he wanted just a shadow projection on the side of the house or something, and he starts explaining to me physics and goes, well, you probably know this, and it says the word light where he means momentum, a thing that I proved back in the summertime. And so it's this is just the way my older family members approach things. We're going to tell you what we know, we're going to see how you react, and if it offends us, we're just going to shut off the conversation. Again, this is about physics. I have a functional physical model. I can't not speak theorems, literally. Dad says we know you're really smart, but we still don't act like it. We still don't act like it. Again, had plenty fine time with my mom, dad, brother, good time. But again, I would just rather have people interact with me on a direct level, ask me about what I'm doing. My dad also asked me if I'm still playing music. And he's like, oh, you must be getting pretty good at it. Yeah, at this point I'm pretty much the most prolific composer. Take Beethoven or fucking Mozart or whoever the fuck else. pile of music, Eric Weinstein. Yep, that pile of music is still there. People have to click on it and listen to it, but still doing music, or you're getting pretty good at it, yet pretty much the best. But again, not like a mean, rude way. It's just like ask me about my fucking life. I'm actually going to fucking live an entire life without my parents like directly asking me about myself, for real. I'm stuck in the weirdest thing ever. But those were kind of the last famous quotes from Christmas. Now just some more lovely stories. I actually wanted to share an interesting physics story. So with my dad. So one day, my parents love Scrabble, love backgammon. I'm personally terrible at Scrabble, and both destroy me. But backgammon, cards, euchre. But one day, used to play backgammon when I lived at my parents' house quite a bit with my dad and mom. But one day we're sitting there playing backgammon, and it's a felt board. And I go to roll the dice. And I roll the dice, and I don't know, again, I'm pretty intuitively aware of rhythm. So, and I'm pretty athletic, certainly athletic. But I throw the dice, and it slides over your typical backgammon felt table, or just board, and the piece stabilizes. Like it had picked up enough static electricity, and it just literally stood there for like, again, right, if I throw my pen on the ground, everyone's intuitively aware of like, reaction times of how long it would take to fall down. And me and my dad are both sitting there, just looking at this die, like literally a standard dice. Throw it, and it's going across, and it literally stabilizes like right on the edge of the die for like 2 seconds. And me and my dad both look at each other. I was like, "Did you just see that?" And he was just like, "Yes." And that was one of my first again direct empirical pieces of evidence. Was like, known physical laws wrong. And that was clearly like some sort of electricity stabilization through the static electricity of just the contact of the electrons of the piece and the felt. But both it was just me and my dad. My dad certainly saw it. I'm certain he would remember if he watches this. But that was one of the I'm getting physics lessons after I solved the physics with the backgammon piece that I saw. This was probably like, I don't know, when I was like 17 or so. But that was a pretty interesting story, 100% legitimate. And so I'll give you another kind of weird story. And so I told you about going to the lake, the Salt Fork State Park. Family always goes there. And then I told you about the fuck you story. And I think I said it, but like after, I already said after I said fuck you a bunch, my old cousin's husband coming over and saying, I was abused my whole life. I was like, yeah, samesies, bro. But not the same visit. But again, I've always bumped heads with my dad just because, again, I exist. And to my aunt, the aunt from the Christmas story, she was the one that would let me go over to her house when my dad would do this stuff to me. So it's now there. So everyone has their turn at Brad. Everyone has their turn at the scapegoat, just launching at their insecurities at him. But one day at the lake, we're playing horseshoes, and again, just your typical state park, just not like a real big beach, but just like a little lakefront sand area. And I'm sitting there, and again, a good amount of my cousins. The lake this is my mom's side of the family. The lake is typically with my dad's side of the family. But we're sitting there one day, playing horseshoes, just going back and forth, again, no emotions, nothing is going on. There's been no problems whatsoever. And then I'm standing on one side. I don't have any horseshoes in my hand. Like my dad has the 2 horseshoes. It's his turn to throw them back. And he literally drops the horseshoe right next to himself. Like he just has it in his hand. He just kind of like fumbles around, and I'm watching it directly the whole time. Drops the horseshoe, and it literally casually just falls over onto his foot. 0% physical pain, 0% like any damaging to his foot. It was embarrassing. I could literally see him it spooked, like he dropped it, like a dog scared of his own shadow. And then he literally looks at me and goes, "Oh, you just threw that at me." And I am, again, mind fucked. I don't have any horseshoes. There's 2 horseshoes, he's got both of them. You threw that at me. As a complete reaction to it, I just dropped something on my foot and it's embarrassing, so that guy's fault. And I was just, again, when this stuff happens, when I get treated like this, it is such a true level of I need to survive. I am a scapegoat. He just literally dropped a horseshoe and fell over on his own self. And it wasn't there was no pain, it was just he was embarrassed. And then he just starts getting mad at me, for real. Again, dude was 50 at the time, 50, 55 years old. And so that was just amazing. Again, amazing thing. And now another time, in golf with my dad a bunch, my brother and my cousin quite a bit. Well, one of the cousins on my dad's side. A lot of cousins going on here. I probably have, 15 or 20 cousins, a good amount on both my mom and dad's side. Not huge families, not small families. But coming back from golfing one day, and this is again probably about 4 years ago. So about 24, 25. After I've solved all this stuff, and again they know kind of what I've done, but they don't know the implications. I have a functional physical model in my head constantly. It's not going anywhere. And coming back from golfing, and again, this is the point where now we're all grown ups. We're all going to reminisce about the past. And my dad says, we didn't know what we were doing. Again, just reference to just growing stuff up, but again, just mid-30s, 30-something-year-olds having kids because everyone else is having kids, and now we didn't really know what we were doing. I just remember honestly, kind of chuckling to myself, yeah, I know. And then I'm like, it still hasn't gotten better. And that was 4 years ago. 4 years later, it still hasn't gotten better. It just hasn't. It can't. Another quick one. I was shunned for 3 months for quitting basketball, actually by my dad. Literally, I told you about my basketball coaches who were just absolute fucking cunts. I was just like, this isn't worth it. This isn't worth my mental sanity. And then I remember at school, I was lifting. My coach calls me in, Brad, can I see you one more time? And I just go, yes, sir. Just again, almost mocking the dude because I'm fucking 100% quitting. And my old buddy Ryan would remember that and be some weird thing, but I was mocking the dude. Yes, sir. Go into this fucking thing, and he's just there's a space for you on the team in the future if you continue to work hard. I'm yeah, no, quit, done. And again, basketball is kind of my dad's favorite sport. And then, literally coming back from that interaction, my dad picks me up from school. How on earth who would care that much about a sport? And then he gets mad at me I'm a quitter. Yeah, and again, this is the end of the season. This isn't quitting the soccer was mid season. This was just I'm just not going to sign up for basketball next season. How could you quit? Quit what? The sport I don't want to play? But he legit wouldn't talk to me for 3 months. We didn't know what we were doing. And again, I'm not mad. 0% bad. These are funny stories for me, honestly. We didn't know what we were doing. Yep, I noticed. Definitely fucking noticed. So now one more funny story about inquiring about the dentist. So just another genuinely funny, honestly funny story. So I have a bottom retainer. I had braces, and I think my it's definitely my maybe lymphoma spots definitely less dense, and there's no soreness. It's definitely going down. So unfortunately, I might not get to die soon, which stinks. And again, my uncle's crazy. Had 6 beers that day, and it's hilarious because again, it's the holidays. I don't typically drink beer till 4 or 5 o'clock in the day, but at the holidays, it was 3 o'clock. My uncle's oh, you should probably have a big pile down in the basement. It's no, I just started drinking earlier because I'm supposed to have a good time with my family or something. But it's just such a weird experience. I thought being a scapegoat was actually done, and there was no end in sight. There was no end in sight. So again, to the people I haven't talked to in 5 to 10 years who genuinely scapegoated me, my life has not changed at all. It's destroyed every relationship I've ever had, and no end. There's no end in sight. Been inquiring about the dentist. Just a couple funny, truly, and parents, if you watch this at all, I think this is actually funny. Inquiring about the dentist. Like I said, I had braces. I have a permanent bottom retainer. Last time I went to the dentist, probably about 2 years ago, they were we can take the lower permanent retainer off if you want. So I just asked my mom about because the plaque gets built up underneath the retainer. But I just asked my parents, and I don't think my mom or dad didn't know about because the place I went to, they were the ones that told me that they could remove the retainer. So I just asked them about how much would it cost for teeth cleaning and an appointment there. Turns out it was $300, which I agree is exorbitant a lot. But so they sent me just another a new patient thing to sign up for this, a one-time new patient enrollment for $89, $90. And again, mom, dad, 0% problem. Looking around for good deals, being frugal. I'm extremely frugal. 0 problem with that. But then, my mom, like I said, my mom came over the other day, genuinely great interaction then, great time at Christmas, honestly, except for these wonderful, wonderful interactions where people have to pelt me with bullshit. My mom's sitting there telling me, because I've told you about the financial advisor. So she's getting a new financial advisor. And she tells me, she goes, he sat me down and he's like, you have to be prepared to lose 25% of this portfolio. And this is in response to, again, looking at a current setup, which I have no idea, Mom and Dad, this is not like a slight, I do not want to manage your money, I do not care about that, anything like that, 0%. But she goes, the new financial advisor looks at the old financial advisor's setup and is like, there's not much of a plan here, there's not like a goal. And then she says, the new advisor says to her, you better be prepared to lose 25% of your portfolio. And then I just kind of like, so what's the upside? Like, what was his projected return on a 25% risk? It should be 2 to 3 to 1. Risking 25%, you should be going for 50, 75, 100%. And my mom just like, oh, I didn't ask him that either. I was just like, yep, it doesn't sound like much of a plan either. And again, I have zero interest in managing money, but I am the most competent money manager that fucking exists. And again, the one for sure trade I had was Bitcoin before it decoupled from the halving cycles, which is, again, it wasn't like a buy one time. It was like 7 years. So again, like I said, there's plenty of good trades out there that I would not hit or not know. There's just a lot of trades out there, but again, nobody has a functional understanding of the world like I do, like literally zero people. And I react with that 9% investor maturity. I can react to the sentiment very, very consistently. but mom, if you're going for a loss of, if you're risking 25%, you should be able to make, again, 50, 75, 100%. You want at least 2, 3, 4 to 1. So make sure there's actually a plan on the upside there as well. But then another time, the same conversation is like, my brother or my parents had this old like bedroom set that they sold, and it was like, my dad wanted to sell it. It was worth maybe about $200, and my mom was just like, who cares? It's not that big of a deal. And so, it's just like, again, I think they ended up selling it for $200, but it's just like why do we do this? Like, why the fuck do we do this? This audit, like, lose this money, no upside. $200 matters maybe for a dentist appointment, and I agree. Like, I'm not like saying I should just spend money recklessly, but again, I am owed infinite money, literally, actually. The thing I don't like to talk about anymore is money, especially when it's restricted. My parents are just, they save to save. They don't really know why. And it's axiomatic, it's understandable. You spend your time, money can do stuff, I get all of that feeling. But at the same time, we're worried about $200. We're not worried about $200. We're not worried about losing 25% of our portfolio. And then at Christmas, my dad was like talking about dropping AT&T as a cable provider for like $175 a month to go down to like $100 a month. Mom and Dad, just save yourself some mental stress and just be okay with spending a little bit of money. So honestly, funny stories. But the flip-floppy thing about money is just, we're financially secure. We're going to go into a place of way more financial security. And like, again, as soon as the law kicks in. So honestly, again, just wanted to cover some more quotes because, again, my uncle telling me he's going to leave this conversation not feeling good about me, not shaking my hand. Again, for defending what? I walk the walk every day. So those are some more casual conversations, and besides immediate family gatherings, I'm good on them as well. So thank you for watching Language, Litigation, and Integration Part 74, Casual Conversations 23.